Hey everybody, this is Joseph Pasek, and welcome to the Fire Up Network. Welcome to a special on the Mat Wrestling Show with my two buddies from Huge Pop. Now, Donnie DaSilva and Jim Korderas. Now, Donnie, I gotta ask you this. You've been doing the Huge Pop, and you've been providing amazing interviews. All right, but I gotta ask you. You talked about Super Kick. When's the next card? I want to do a Shawn Michaels kick, right? Sweet chin music or something like that. Come on.
I don't know if I like your odds of doing a super kick to any of the talent on our shows, but so for anyone in the Greater Toronto area, Super Kick Pro Wrestling, we run shows generally the last Friday of every month. So the next one we have coming up is June 27th. It's going to feature WWE legend and ECW legend Al Snow. He'll be there in action, not just doing a meet and greet. He'll be wrestling. And every Wednesday night, Rendezvous, the largest patio in all of Toronto. They have outdoor beach volleyball, pickleball, all sorts of games and activities, amazing food. And every Wednesday night, we do free outdoor wrestling at Rendezvous. We had a show last night. It was absolutely a blast. So much fun. So if you want to come see some good pro wrestling in the Toronto area, we've got you covered.
All right. Jimmy, don't ask if the burgers are $25, okay? So don't ask that.
They're not.
They're not $25. But
they're not $25, and they're really good burgers.
All right. Well, Rendezvous. Everybody should be rendezvousing on Wednesday, and you see where wrestling, and you talk about this. Start off when like they say the curtain jerker, and look, everybody's getting signed. Everybody. Is going to the leagues, NXT, TNA, NWA, WWE, and all that. And then they change from Mariah May to Mariah March. Okay? So that's what I'm going to say. Maybe you like March, April. What name do you like if they're going to keep by month?
You know what? It doesn't matter. They can call her whatever they want. She's going to be a star. But I mean, indie wrestling is the lifeblood of professional wrestling. I mean, exactly. You can look up and down the WWE roster, the AEW roster, and the gross majority of them came through the independent scene. So, you always get someone like a Tiffy Stratton that, just got recruited and ends up at the PC. But the gross majority of people came through the independent system. We regularly have people in Super Kick, part of our regular roster, that are just so talented. Like Taylor Rising, she's competed in the NWA, she's competed in TNA. She's a super talented young lady. Jesse V, our heavyweight champion, he's wrestled 90% of guys on TV right now. Like there's no other athlete in the business like him. Gigantic, athletic, can fly. Muscular, he's one of a kind. So come see these guys in person.
All right. So this Saturday, both you guys, or maybe one of you, are going to be extremely busy. Okay. Thank God there's no hockey night in Canada. Put it that way. They're playing Monday instead of Friday instead of Saturday and all that. But anyways, it's 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. I mentioned that because it's in Los Angeles. Worlds collide, and WWE bringing in or buying AAA. Jimmy, let me ask you: is this good for business?
Again, it's one of those time will tell kind of situations, but at the same time, when you have someone like a TKO / Endeavor with the backing that they could provide to AAA, I think this is a beneficial partnership. Or takeover, whatever you want to call it, for both sides, because obviously they're looking to expand their TKO. That is, they're looking to expand their footprint outside of North America. They've been doing it with WWE for a while now, but I think they're looking to enter markets with and I'm doing the air quotes here, non-specific WWE talents, even though they could feature some of those talents on the AAA shows, which is what we're seeing on Saturday in LA. So. I think it's a good move. I think it's nice to see them trying to extend olive branches around the world. And for those people out there who are worried that, oh my God, here we go, it's going to be like back in the days when Vince closed down the territory. They're not closing down anything. They're not trying to take over anything. If anything, they're expanding the viewership of professional wrestling by putting their brand behind it.
Yeah. And what do you say, Donnie, about that? same
Yeah,
thing?
for the most part. I mean, I think one of the really interesting things is the evolution of professional wrestling. I mean, Jimmy remembers a time, and I know of this time from talking to guys. Like Kamala used to say this to me all the time, right, Jimmy? Like back in the territory days, he'd try to make a town, and they'd be like, well, we already have a minority on our roster, so try the next town.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And in the WWE, not that long ago, it was like, well, we already have a masked guy. We don't need another one, and that was kind of the thing. And then it's like, okay, well, now we have two masked guys. Now we got Ray and Sin Cara, but Sin Cara sucks. Okay, so now what are we going to do? Right. And so now it becomes less about the masked guy, and it's how good is the guy in the mask. And if he's good enough and he happens to wear a mask, he's got a spot on TV. And now they've just opened up this whole other avenue of talent development. These guys that work a completely different style. Although AAA, more so than CMLL, AAA has already adapted a lot of American style into their stuff. And that's largely because of who their booker is, Conan. So I think it's going to be a really good marriage in a lot of different ways. It's WWE putting their promotional muscle behind AAA. It's AAA providing new and rising talent to WWE.
Okay, before with the card, I gotta ask both you guys: El Grande Americano, a fan of that or not? Jimmy,
love it.
Yeah,
I absolutely love it. It showcases Chad Gable in a way that I've been hoping for a long time. Well, I'm assuming I know Michael Cole keeps saying that it is Chad Gable. I guess, again, we have no photographic or proof of this, but I'm going under the assumption that Chad Gable is under the mask of El Grande Americano, and he's a hidden gem. He's like this generation's Kurt Angle without the prominent spot so far. I think they've got gold in this guy.
Yeah, and he's doing a double.
I feel like if you don't like Grande Americano, you might have to reevaluate whether or not you like professional wrestling.
Well, my question is there a Grande Greek? Is there a Grande Espanol? Or okay, come on. If they got Americano, they should got everybody. United Nations. That's all I'm saying.
Because then it's too much. You don't want to kill the golden goose.
Okay.
No, it's really well done. It's really well done, and they have a super athletic guy. The funny part to me is going to be when the guy in the hood gets over more than the guy without the hood.
Right.
Thank you. That he's amazing. Also, it helps that he's an amazing wrestler, right? Mm-hmm. But it takes away from the other tag team because he was sort of a manager of the tag team, Brutus and all that. So it takes away from those guys. But they got something special with Chad Gable, or sort of Chad Gable, let's call it. All right. But
I don't think it takes away from anybody, to be honest with you, Jim, because here's what I think. And Jimmy, you can tell me if you disagree, but I think the Creed brothers, when they came up to Monday Night Raw, they were really fortunate for the position. To me, they could have used a little bit more seasoning in NXT. I feel like they're not quite there yet. However, as recently as a couple weeks ago, I said on our show, I see Julian Creed as being a future star, like a real legitimate star on his own. I think those guys are both green, and I think they're fortunate to be in the position that they're in and getting the rub from Chad Gable on a regular basis. So I think anytime they're on TV with him, whether they're just standing next to him or working a match, I think it's good for their careers. I don't think they're getting pushed aside at all.
Okay, Jimmy, what do you think?
No, I agree with that because with one thing that Chad Gable has shown everybody, and Kurt Angle showed it way back in the day, because that's the easy comparison to make, is you can have all the talent in the world in ring, but unless you can develop a character that people can get truly invested in and really gravitate towards, you're just another talent in the ring that could do great things. And this is, and again, I'm not trying to harp on the other guys. This is a problem AEW has right now, is they've got a ton of guys that can do all the acrobatic flips in the world that make people go, oh, that's amazing, but they can all do it. So what makes one stand out more than the other? Character. If you got a character that's attached to it, you take someone like a Will Ospreay. When he first got there, I thought one of his biggest problems was he did too much. Yeah. Slow down, take your time. Now he's starting to get it. He's slowly getting there. He's slowing down his pace. He's taking his time. He's starting to sell more. and he's starting to show us a bit of who Will Ospreay is.
And his promos are amazing now.
And that's just going to benefit him going forward. And if he needs to slow down even more.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, he needs to slow down even more. The more
100%.
he gets that fact that he doesn't have to get all his stuff in every match, the better off he will be. And
we literally just had this conversation last night at Super Kick, where there was a young guy, I won't say his name, but a young guy who worked on the show, and the head trainer from Super Kick, the owner of Super Kick, Chris Chambers, he's talking to the guy after the show and says, so you did that suicide dive. What's the point of a suicide dive? Why do you do it in a match? He goes, the young guy says, to get a pop. He goes, no, marks work for pops. You don't work for pops. The move itself had nothing to do with the story of your match. What was the story of your match? He's like, I don't know. I'm like, yeah, if you don't know the story of your match, you got a problem, especially at a free outdoor show. We treat them like fair shows, right? So it's like 90% of the people there are there having a burger and a beer and watching the hockey game on the big screen. They don't know anything about wrestling. So you just got to keep it simple. Babyface, bad guy, yay, boo, punch, body slam. Keep it simple. You don't need to do 10,000 things. And as much as wrestling fans think that they're so evolved with what they like, you keep it simple, and that's the stuff that gets over.
That's everybody listening to this. That's number one. If you want to get in wrestling, keep it simple, and I'll add the other word, the S word, stupid. All right. So that's it. So let's get to the card here. A 6-man tag match: Legado de Fantasma taking on Wagner Jr., Banano, and Psycho Clown. I know a lot of fans have not watched these guys, but I'll start with Donnie. Who do you call in this one?
Actually, you know what? Let me do something. Ask Jimmy that question first.
All right, Jimmy. I'm going to ask you that question first. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. I think this one should be the one that kicks off the show, I believe, because all these guys are very, very talented, and I think they're going to get a good 6-man. I know this is going to display the lucha style very, very well, but I think if you're going to do this partnership right, and this is just strictly from I'm trying to find the right word for it, because from a partnership deal, and you want to show that you mean business and helping AAA get. Oh wow! I just got a. Thanks, Donnie. I see El Hijo del Dr. Wagner and Pagano and Psycho Clown, or Donnie. I think Donnie is Psycho Clown. I could see them easily, coming out ahead in this one.
It's not Donnie, it's Chad Gable. All right, go ahead, Chad. Donnie or Psycho.
Psycho Clown's going to win, obviously. What are we talking about here? Let's go to the next match.
All right, let's go. And by the way, in this card, they got a lot of 6-man tags and a lot of tag team matches, but let's go with another 6-man tag here, a Latino World Order, and versus this match will showcase AAA wrestlers. Psycho Clown, what do you think?
Where'd he go?
I don't know where he went. He's
probably,
there he is.
Psycho Clown had to go.
Yeah, he took off. Okay, go ahead. Maybe keep the mask on next time. Go ahead. Go ahead with this one.
Sorry, which one did you ask me about? I was tending to Psycho Clown as usual.
LWO against the group from AAA, but they're going to showcase this group, Octagon Jr. and the other partners there.
So it's El Hijo del Wagner.
It's the other match. And by the way, Joaquin Wilde is injured. He's being replaced by Dorado.
Lince Dorado, Dragon Lee, and Cruz del Toro. When you said LWO, I got confused because it's like, well, I guess Dragon Lee is technically still LWO, but not really. Octagon Jr., Aerostar, and Mr. Iguana. I think it's pretty safe to say that. And isn't Octagon Jr. hurt? I think he's hurt. I don't think he's going to work.
I think they put the El Dorado in there.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. So I think the babyface team wins here. Dragon Lee is still super over in Mexico. And with AAA fans, even though this match is not going to be in Mexico, it's going to be in LA. But he's super over with the Hispanic community. Lince Dorado, the same thing. I say the baby faces go over here.
Jimmy?
Yeah, I could see that. I think it's going to be a split since the other six-man tag is going to be, I believe, the AAA team winning over Santos Escobar, Angel, and Berto.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to, this will even the odds. Let's put it that way.
Now, next tag team match, and I want to see these ladies together. Stephanie McCure and Lola Vice teaming up here. And in case that you don't know, Lola Vice came from UFC, MMA world, and I'm surprised she hasn't gotten the push that I thought she's going to get. She's been there a year and a half, 2 years already. Stephanie McCurry, she's already on Raw. She got the push and everything like that. Jimmy, what do you say? Who's going to win that match?
This is an interesting one. I think this one might be something that'll set up a Stephanie McCure, Lola Vice. I think something is going to happen between those two to cause friction and have Tormenta and Alice win.
All right. Donnie?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, when you say Lola has been there for so long and not gotten a push, I mean, we just saw JC Jane beat Stephanie McCure for the title, and she's like second longest, I think, of having been on the NXT roster without a move to the main. I think the only one there right now that has more time on developmental is Wendy Chu. So Lola's time will come. She's talented. She's figuring it all out. Her time will come. Stephanie is obviously a star. Dalise and Chick Tormenta, perfect heels for this match. There's no chance in hell that Stephanie McCure and Lola Vice don't win.
All right. Next is a fatal four-way match for the North American Championship. Ethan Page, Canadian, by the way, Javon Evans, Laredo Kid, and Ray Phoenix. Donnie.
You want me to tell you who's going to win or who I want to win?
Well, that means there's going to be winners. So go ahead, tell me both.
Okay, who I want to win is anyone but Ethan Page. Who's going to win is Ethan Page.
All right, go ahead, Johnny and Jimmy.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with Donnie. I would have liked to have seen someone like a Javon Evans, but I think he's still too young. His time will come. But yeah, he just needs a little seasoning and just a little more confidence. Not that he's not showing any, but he needs. Yeah, go ahead, Donnie.
He's 21.
Yeah,
he's 21. He's just a baby. That kid is going to be so special. He's going to be so like. There's going to come a time when he's a multiple-time champion on the main roster. We're going to be like, remember when he was in NXT? Remember before he won any belts? Remember what that was like? Yeah, this kid is so good.
I know, because we keep talking about people like Obafemi and Trick Williams and those guys. This guy is, if they're going to be the next ones, Javon Evans is further down the pipeline. So their future is set with these three guys at least.
100%.
The next match is supposedly the main event for the AAA Mega Championship. And I'll ask Donnie first. He beat Alberto Del Rio. Alberto Del Rio was the champion. Would you have liked to see Alberto Del Rio against Chad Gable or Aquino against Chad Gable?
Listen, I'm an Alberto Del Rio fan, although that's not politically correct to say because he's done a lot of shady things outside of the ring and he's gotten himself into a lot of trouble. I know Jimmy's dear friend of our show, JBL, recently came out and said Alberto Del Rio is the best worker in the world right now. That may have something to do with the fact that he likes him. I don't know. I don't know if I'd necessarily go that far, but I have a lot of respect for JBL's assessment of the business. That all being said, if you have Alberto Del Rio versus Chad Gable, it's a completely different type of match psychology-wise.
Yeah.
This is the kind of match that will be easy to make highlight films and to promote every future AAA crossover. You have a WWE main star guy, not an NXT guy, a main roster guy against the guy that everyone calls the best high flyer in the business. Like Conan himself has said El Hijo del Vikingo has replaced Rey Mysterio as the greatest high flyer right now. And if you know anything about Conan, he puts Rey Mysterio on a pedestal that's 100 feet high. So Vikingo, I think, is a really interesting talent. I think it might be a struggle for him, like, to make the transition to the WWE. So this might be a really good in-between for him because he doesn't speak English. He's 5'3", and I don't know if he's ever going to adapt to WWE style. But for this match, I don't think he will. I think this is going to be a full-on lucha-style match, and Chad will be the one adjusting. And it's going to be a lot of fun for people that love that style. This is going to be a true lucha match.
All right. Jimmy?
No, I agree with that assessment, because if you're going to put Vikingo against anybody, Chad Gable, as he's proved against Penta, is someone who could adapt to that style. I know Penta did the adjusting as well to the more traditional WWE style in his debut. It showed from there. But Chad Gable, you can put him in the ring with anybody and he can adapt. He's that damn good. And I just find, some interesting fantasy booking on my end. I would love to see Chad Gable, and this is going to tie into what we're going to talk about in the next next thing. I would love to see actually Chad Gable become the AAA Mega Champion. I would love to see it, and it's nothing personal against Vikingo, like Donnie said. He's held in high regard as one of the greatest high flyers, if not the best high flyer in the business right now. But I think there's a lot of story you can tell with Chad Gable holding that AAA Mega Championship right now.
So,
oh my God.
My question is, I agree with you, but should Chad Gable have wrestled, especially in the Worlds Collide, as Grande Americano?
No, he doesn't need to.
No, again, that's going to tie into my fantasy booking, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
Okay. So go ahead, Don.
I fully agree with Jimmy. I think that they did this exactly right. Chad Gable failed to qualify for Money in the Bank, but Grande Americano did. Grande Americano is not booked for AAA because they don't consider him a real luchador, but Chad Gable is. I think it's the absolute right way to play this out. I'm on board with Jimmy. I would love to see Chad Gable win the title here. The fact that Vikingo has had it for like 6 days, I don't know that they're necessarily going to pull it off of him, but it would be the absolute smartest business decision.
What if, again, here we go. What if Chad Gable had help from El Grande Americano in this match to win the championship?
I mean, that would be fitting. That would be fitting.
That's right. Again, Worlds Collide happens this Saturday, June 7th, 3 p.m., and that leads to Money in the Bank. But Donnie, tell everybody how they could hold of you, social media-wise, Jimmy, and Huge Pop Radio that can be heard here on the Fired Up Network.
Yeah, well, I mean, Jimmy's all over Twitter, so you can find him on Twitter at Real Jimmy Korderas, and same thing on same name on Instagram, right, Jim?
Yeah, the Twitter one doesn't have the real in front of it. It's just Jimmy Korderas. Right. Yeah, on Instagram, somebody took my name, so I had to put real in front of it.
And mine is Donnie.DaSilva. Pretty simple. On Instagram, I don't really use anything else. I'll be honest with you. I'm an Instagram guy, so you can find us on there. Huge Pop Show is where you can find information about the show itself, and hugepopradio.com. If you go there, you'll find links to all of our stuff.
All right, and these guys will be back to preview Money in the Bank. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, Joe.